Do you ever feel like this?
Explain what the author means. Support explanations. This is the worst. I hate extended responses. They confuse me.
Well, now, after this step-by-step process outlined in today's lesson, you'll never feel that way again.
Wow! Thanks, random lady behind the camera. I really appreciate that. Happy Monday, everybody. Happy exploratory, everybody. Happy week before the OAA, everybody. As we just saw, we're here today to learn and talk about how to effectively answer an extended response question. We start first with a couple of acronyms that maybe some of your teachers have talked to you about throughout the school year. The first one that we're going to talk about is the acronym of RATE-IN. RATE-IN. And just to kind of take you through each of these letters, we start with the R, which is all about restating the initial question that's presented to you. The A, a very important one, is to answer the question. A T means you need to tell why you came up with the answer that you did, or why the answer is what it is. A big key here is this E, which stands for examples or provide examples. And then finally is your in. To wrap up your whole extended response, you want to end it with an in conclusion statement. Another acronym that you may be familiar with is RAEECC. Rhinos and elephants eat chocolate cake. You'll see some similarities between these two acronyms, starting with the R. The R, again, is all about restating the question. When you have an extended response question, there may be multiple parts of that question. Make sure you restate each part. RA, again, stands for answering the question. RE stands for provide an example from the text. And I think that from the text part is extremely important. All right, example from the text. Our second E is to explain. And essentially that explain is just like what we had over here, telling why the example matched up with the answer. And then our C is to conclude our thoughts in some way. And then finally, our final C on this acronym is to check. Check and make sure. Did I restate? Did I answer? Did I get an example? Did I explain? Which is another good strategy to use with this one as well. You notice a couple similarities between our two acronyms. The first similarity is the R and the A, restating and answering the question. So what I thought we'd do is we'd look at a couple example questions and analyze and talk about this restating and answering idea. So as you look here, we have an example question right here. Identify one positive effect that corn mazes can have for farmers, and one positive effect the mazes can have for visitors. Support each positive example with an example effect with an example from the passage. Write your answer in the answer document, and then in parentheses 4 points. The very first important thing that you want to look at as you're doing an extended response question is that final part. All right? How many points is it worth? That means how many parts to your answer there's going to be. After you've done that, look back through the question for some key words that can help you get there. Numbers are a big one that can help you get to 4. And what you're trying to do at the end is add up to 4. You see we have a 1 right here. 1 positive effect. Another 1 right here. 1 positive effect. Something like support each. Each is a key word there. Essentially what we have now is our 4 points added up. 1 positive effect that corn mazes can have, and 1 positive effect that the mazes can have, and then supporting each, which is where our 4 points come from. When it comes to restating the question, pick out those key words, the nouns and the adjectives that go along with that answer. 1 positive effect that corn mazes can have for farmers. 1 positive effect the mazes can have for visitors. 1 example from the passage that supports the positive effect. So look in your answer for verbs, such as support, identify. Look for nouns, effect, farmers, effect, visitors, All those key words, those bigger words, adjectives, nouns, and verbs, should somehow find their way to your final answer when it comes to restating and answering. Another one. And you notice here, we didn't even have to read this passage to know what a question should look like when it's being restated. You didn't get the chance to read about corn mazes. Maybe one day you will. The next one. This one's even more exciting. They're talking about railroad time. Explain why railroad time was created, then explain why it was replaced with another system. Write your answer in the answer document for 2 points. Just like we said last time, start with what's in parentheses. How many points is it worth? 2. All right? 2 points means I got to look for some keywords that get me to 2. All right? The keyword here is this word then, meaning what's before then is 1 point, what's after then is 2 points. So now I look for some other keywords as I go through. Let's start with the verbs. Explain and explain. That means my answer should explain. It should develop an idea. I'm going to then look for some nouns. Railroad time. Another system. So when I go to restating and answering my question, these are some of the keywords that should be included. Railroad time was created because. When it comes to explaining why, because should be there. Then, it was replaced with another system because. And making sure to include key ideas from the text, just like we talked about in our acronyms of examples. The final one we're going to look at here. Predict how Bobby Brown will feel the next time he has a professional performance. Then, explain your prediction with information from the passage. Write your answer in the answer document for 2 points. 2 points, again, is the key there. So I'm looking for a word in there that tells me where I'm going to get point 1 and where I'm going to get point 2. Just like our last example, then is there. So I go back through, I look for some key words, some key verbs, words like predict and explain. My first point should be a prediction. My second point should be explaining using that word why or because. All right, as I continue on, Bobby Brown, that is a noun, that's a person. Professional performance, that's a key idea. And then information from the passage like we've talked about in our acronyms. So when we go to restate our question, Bobby Brown will feel this way the next time he has a professional performance. When I explain my prediction with information, this is because, or he will feel this way because, match with that because with that word explain. Couple more ideas in terms of acronyms or letters that match up between the two. Another big one that matches up is this concept of E. Again, making sure that our examples come from the text. Although you guys have a lot of information in your brain about corn mazes, about railroad time, and about Bobby Brown, you need to make sure that you're going back to that text to find the information. All right? And then also, make sure that we have our concluding statement. A school that we worked with before put these acronyms in place. It was that concluding statement that got them over the hump, that impressed those graders just a little bit more. So, we'll show you a summary here in just 1 second, but after you see that summary slide, you're going to get some examples from your teacher of a passage and an extended response question. Make sure you restate that question. Make sure you answer that question and look for those key words along the way. Make sure that you are going back through the text to look for specific examples, and then make sure at the very end you've done something to conclude your thoughts. Hopefully, this has given you all the skills that you need to become an expert on extended response questions.
Tell you to run on the way. Nobody say, nobody